This guy is so bold, how dare he talk to the elder like this? A lunatic who doesn't know whether to live or die, it seems that he is impatient. The crowd murmured in their hearts, obviously not expecting that Lin Feng would be so bold and question the elders of the inner door. In the Nine Heavens continent, sects are at their peak, and powerful sects can even control a country and call for wind and rain. Within the sects, competition is fierce and the ranks are extremely strict. First, the outer sect disciples, then the inner sect disciples, the core disciples, and then the inner sect disciples. Going up, we reach the elders of the outer door and the elders of the inner door. Lin Feng is only an outsider disciple, and his status is not much different from that of Emosia. It can be said that if Emosia wants him to live, he will live, and if he wants to die, he has to die. Emosia's heart was extremely cold, and Lin Feng obviously said something he shouldn't have said. Ho Qing, what's the crime of contradicting the sect elder? Emosia stared at Lin Feng without moving his eyes. Elder Ben, lightly expel him from the sect, while in the worst case, abolish his cultivation first, and then expel him from the section. How could Ho Qing not understand what Emosia meant? How could he miss this great opportunity? Elder Ho Qing thought that Lin Feng's actions were outrageous, and he should abolish his cultivation and expel the Cloud Sea sect. No, it's not easy to get his cultivation base. Just keep it, give him an arm, and then expel him from the section. Emosia said, generous. It's so vicious. Lin Feng secretly hated, he and Emosia had no grievances in the past, but the other party convicted him as soon as they came. In any case, he would be expelled from the sect, and once he was expelled, I am afraid Lin Qian and the monstrous young man would not let them go. This was obviously to kill him. In fact, just as Lin Feng expected, this is clearly a dead end for him. Martial Dao is respected, without enough strength and talent, even the sect can't be trusted. Lin Feng's heart is like a mirror, in this world, everything can only rely on himself, just like now, the sect elder wants to break his arm, he was expelled from the sect and charged with an unwarranted charge. Lin Feng glanced at Nangong Ling, the sect master has not spoken yet, and there is still room for recovery. Everything depends on strength and talent. Now that I'm not strong, I'll show my talent. Lin Feng's thoughts turned around, but if he couldn't, he would tell the story of the bells and drums. When all the 8 bells and drums sounded, the 2 guardians of the sect showed up and sent him back in person to hide people's eyes and ears. No matter how stupid Lin Feng was, he understood that the test he passed was not as simple as he thought at the beginning. At this time, Ho Qing had come to Lin Feng, and was watched by countless people, even the sect and the elders were watching. Ho Qing was a little nervous and a little excited. This was a good opportunity to show himself. You bastard, cut off your own arm. You and I are too different in strength. I disdain to shoot at you. Ho Qing said arrogantly. Seeing Ho Qing's flickering eyes, Lin Feng shook his head secretly, his mind was so weak, the 10th person from the outer sect, but that's all. Go ahead. Lin Feng pulled out the long sword on his back, held it firmly in the palm of his hand, and stood calmly in the same place, with no shock in his heart. Haha, since that's the case, then I'll do it. Of course, Ho Qing knew that Lin Feng couldn't cut his arm by himself. Follow the wind. With a low voice, Ho Qing's figure instantly disappeared in place, following the wind art, moving with the wind, practicing to the extreme, as fast as the wind. Senior brother Ho Qing is the 10th master in the outer section. He is unparalleled in light work and movement. Where can Lin Feng be able to compete? It's just a shame for this guy to stand so steady. The crowd saw Ho Qing's figure fluttering like the wind, and there were bursts of shouts. Among the outer disciples, Ho Qing was ranked 10th, relying on the light exercise and body technique. Even those outer disciples who were ranked in front of him might not be able to. Hu Qing was hurt. Emosia saw a smile on Ho Qing's face. It seemed that Ho Qing's strength had increased again. He hoped that the Zhongmen Dabi at the beginning of next year would be able to break into the top 5 of the outer door, so that he would have a face as the master. As for whether Ho Qing could deal with Lin Feng, this was something Mo Xia didn't consider at all. He was only at the 8th level of Qi Wujing. Among the crowd present, Lin Feng was probably the only one who believed in himself. He was holding a sword in one hand, motionless as a mountain, and looked at Ho Qingshan without an elusive figure. At this moment, a roaring wind blew in, scratching Lin Feng's clothes, his long hair moved with the wind, and all floated up, and Ho Qing's figure suddenly disappeared at this moment. It's over, senior brother Ho Qing is such a brilliant Qinggong. The battle has not yet begun, and the crowd has already reached a conclusion. I saw Lin Feng closed his eyes, quietly feeling the sound of hunting wind, breathing, heartbeat, all stopped at this moment, only the keen sense captured the erratic figure. The sword in Lin Feng's hand suddenly moved, moving with the wind. The trajectory of the sword carried the lightness and grace of the wind. Broken. A domineering shout came from above Lin Feng's head, followed by a huge oppressive force. Roll. Lin Feng poured out a word, the sword light flashed, and then everyone saw blood splashing out. A harsh wailing sound resounded through the space, and the crowd looked at the scene in front of them in disbelief. Ho Qing failed to hit Lin Feng, he was defeated, and was cut off by Lin Feng's simple and random sword. How come? How did Lin Feng do it? All the outer disciples exclaimed in their hearts, especially those who had heard the name of Lin Feng's waist. Lin Feng slashed Ho Qing's arm with one sword. These outer sect disciples did not see clearly how Lin Feng did it, but the inner sect disciples and above all saw clearly. Lin Feng's sword was like a sword, and it was like the wind. The sword, but the wind. Mixing swordsmanship in the wind, does Xingchen Pavilion have this set of swordsmanship? Nan Gongling's eyes fluctuated for the first time. Lin Feng's simple sword was so beautiful that it could almost be called perfect, and there was nothing superfluous. Strength, the sword goes with the wind, and the sword breaks the arm, and this is the result of Lin Feng's control. I believe that if Lin Feng wants Ho Qingming, that sword is enough. Of course, Lin Feng had never practiced the martial art of blending swordsmanship with the wind. He was only on top of the cliff, and he realized something in his heart. Everything in the heavenly sword has power. He just took advantage of the wind just now and hid the sword in it, as if the swordsmanship was melted into the wind, breaking the enemy with one sword. Could it be sure? Nan Gongling thought of another possibility, but then he denied this speculation. Lin Feng was not at the Qi martial realm, so how could he possibly understand sure? Not to mention the Qiwu realm, even if the spirit martial realm is strong, there are only some geniuses who can comprehend a little bit of potential. If the Qiwu realm powerhouse wants to take advantage of the situation, they cannot comprehend unless they use the power of the martial spirit to take advantage of the situation. And use it, but Lin Feng didn't even release his martial spirit just now. This trash has really become stronger, no wonder it's so rampant, but for me, trash is still trash, don't think about the day of turning over. Lin Qian saw Lin Feng cut off Ho Qing's arm with a sword and whispered in her heart, she is now, however, a strong person in the spirit martial realm, and the martial soul has also undergone the awakening of the destiny, the same source of ice and fire, how can this little waste such as Lin Feng be able to compare? Mo Xia's face was very ugly at the moment. He asked Ho Qing to break Lin Feng's arm, but he didn't want Ho Qing to be broken by Lin Feng's sword. This was undoubtedly a slap in the face. This son must die. Lin Feng didn't care about everyone's eyes at all, his face was still calm, he sheathed his long sword. Lin Feng glanced at Ho Qing, who was kneeling on the ground, with no pity in his heart. The 10th person from the outer sect? Disdain to shoot at me? Lin Feng mocked, I really don't understand, what exactly is your pride?